Well, here's part 3 of the quad truck video. It's been a long time coming. I've been kind of working on it over a while now, and here's some clips from part 1 and part 2. Removing the old engine, cutting the transmission off of it. I ended up lengthening the frame so I could do a dump bed on it. So here's some parts where I'm working out the framework for the dump bed. I ended up coupling that old transmission to a new 7-horse side shaft motor. It was kind of fun working out the details of getting that to work with the transmission and getting it welded in the frame. And I had to do some work on the gear ratio a little bit. It was geared too tall originally, so I ended up removing the old sprockets and setting up newer sprockets that had a much better gear ratio for pretty much power, not for speed, and setting up racks and stuff. So stick around and check out the video, guys. Alright, got a few goodies that just showed up in the mail recently. This one I'm going to use as a forward reversing polarity switch for the up down for the bed. The other one's momentary, so you have to hold it on. It takes about 30 seconds for the bed to raise. So this one I can just flip it up, go do something, it'll raise up and then stop, and I can put it back in the middle position. So I'm going to put that on there. Got some other toggle switches. They claim water, I don't know, not really waterproof. They have rubber cap, so I'm going to use those for the headlights and maybe some tail lights on it. Got this, it's like rubber channel you see like when you open up doors on cars, and it could be used on like sharp edges of rails like this. I'll probably use it on the front rack and a few other things. Kid puzzle is for my son, so that's not going on the quad. And this looks like blue undies or maybe a blue t-shirt in here, but actually it's paint. It's powder coat paint for the front fenders up here, so we'll get all these installed pretty soon here. Update on the tailgate. Got the plate cut, got some sections of aluminum welded in down here, and I got some of that U-shaped rubber channel on here and here to kind of cut down from it vibrating as much. I got these little, I think 3/4 inch ribs welded on here to give the tailgate some strength, and I might do a chunk of U-channel aluminum around the top on here, so we'll see, but pretty good so far. But I just put these rails on here all the way around to kind of, so I didn't have such a sharp edge up here. And it's kind of just U-shaped aluminum I welded on here, and had a bunch of grinding marks got sand down from removing a bunch of brackets. Like I said, it was salvage, so I had a bunch of these brackets on here, and some parts were short, so I had to scab them in. I ordered this Keyhin carburetor after we ended up putting one of my nephew's XR100. I think this is off like a, can fit anything from like, I think a XR80, 100, and a 200. It's got a little larger throat than the stock XR100 carb, though. It's a Keyhin knockoff, and anyways, I think we got one for his bike for about 25 bucks on eBay, and surprisingly, it bolted right on. It was actually jetted pretty close and ran pretty good. This thing I picked up on Amazon for about 10 bucks, which is crazy cheap. Hoping it works as good as the other one. I think I paid $7 for the cable. And I bought a $10 jet kit for this thing too, because I'm sure I'm not going to get as lucky this time on the quad truck project. So I'm pulling off this carburetor, air box, and everything off of here, so I can kind of get the dimensions on what the intake manifold looks like, so I can get some plates cut for it, so I can make the intake manifold for the new carb. So hopefully this will be the last time this carb's on here. We'll put that XR200 carb on it. So here they are side by side. So I was digging around my scrap metal pile, and let's see, I think this part of the frame got cut off back here, and I still had it laying around here, and this little angle coming off this weld here I think might be pretty close to the right angle I need. So I'm going to cut this off and see if I can use this section of tubing here for the intake manifold. Alright, I got tack welding just set on here. Again, if this was on a go-kart or something, it could come straight out. It'd be a lot easier because the carb could just sit right out here in the air filter and it'd just be a straight piece of tube. But because I'm working on this quad truck here, I got quite a few things that are kind of limitations. Plus my foot goes right here, so the carb needs to be tucked in here. But everything's tack welded. I like the placement of it. It clears everything I need it to, so I think I'm going to take it in the shop and finish off the welding on it. Got it all big welded together here. Need to do a little bit of porting on the inside to clean it up a little bit, and grind back the welds a little bit to have a little more clearance for the nuts to bolt it onto the motor. But pretty happy the way that turned out. Put a little high temp paint on it and let that dry, and I think tomorrow we'll see if we need to cut any gaskets or anything and mount it up.
Winter changed into spring.
Alright, you guys, took a few months off working on this. I was working on the Carb last, and it was just kind of snowy. It was parked outside and just didn't feel too inspired to work on it with the snow on the ground. And so snow's gone, and I got it in here and got it so it's starting first pull now. Anyways, big thing, I just went with this carb here. It's off of ATC, like a 200, like a Honda clone knockoff, just to get a regular throttle cable, get rid of the governor and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be relocating the air filter up and under the seat just so if it's out in the rain, it doesn't get any water in the intake. But yeah, we're starting off on that. I'm working on some chain guides, got a new battery for it. And also got another battery for the sawmill. Everything's kind of, all the batteries are getting old around here. And yeah, I've been kind of working on a side project with my nephew. I'll post a picture here in the video. We've been putting an XR 100 engine into a CR80 frame. He picked up the CR80 last year. It had a blown engine, and we just put his XR 100 motor in it. So we've been working on that and just finishing that up. So that's kind of taken quite a few of my weekends there. We're going to be working on some chain guides here, and one thing I'm going to do is I just got this new tool here. It's a metal bender, and we're going to do some 90-degree bends on this flat bar. Alright, I think that's a 90. So, put a little UHMW plastic. It's real strong, high wear plastic right up here. And I put this hanger down here, and this I heated so it was curved up, and it's always holding a little bit of tension on the chain. So it's a nice little chain tensioner there. And on this side, I haven't welded this on yet. I need to clean up the metal and get it ready, but I wanted a toolbox on here, and I had this kind of ammo box laying around here, so I'm going to grind off the paint here and weld it on. I think it'll be pretty nice. It's completely clear as it's out of the way for my leg, and it'll be really nice to have a toolbox on the side of this thing.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Well, I got the switch wired up onto here. The original switch that I had was a momentary switch, and it was set up to where you would go to raise it or lower it, and you'd have to hold it on. The linear actuator is fairly slow, maybe 30 seconds to raise it up. So this one, you can put it in the up or down position and go away, do something else. And
Let's go! Go bowling!
And when it gets maxed out on the linear actuator, actually has a switch inside of it that shuts itself off, so you're not overloading anything. So flip the switch up, and there it is. Well, save your money on this part. This little on-off switch I had wired, I got on Amazon. I think you can find them on eBay, like 10 bucks or something. This handlebar mount seemed like a nice little clean installation, but they get water in it. And I've come out here before and seen my headlights glowing a little bit, so it must bridge the contacts in here with the water. And now they're corroded enough it won't even turn on and off the lights. So I'm going to put some toggle switches somewhere under the seat or somewhere out of the way so it doesn't get rained on. But yeah, don't waste your money on these things. Well, got the quad truck loaded up with some maple firewood here. I dropped a tree this winter and moved the two 8-foot sections I wanted out of it to my mill and turned the rest into firewood. So pretty much maximum loaded. I wouldn't want to put much more in it. There's 3 especially big log rounds in here, about all I wanted to pick up wood in the back of it myself. So it's about all I'd probably load it with. Yeah, so we'll take it up to the splitter and I'll show you guys about the linear actuator. I think this is about maximum the linear actuator will probably lift. So we'll get going here. By no means is this linear actuator very powerful or fast, but I think you'll pick it. This is about all I'd probably lift with it. It's going. It's struggling though. Again, that's why I took off the momentary switch, so you could just turn it on and go do something else and come back. And like I said, when it lifts up, it maxes out on. They have little limit switches inside on maximum, minimum stroke, so it's not like it's gonna burn out. It's going. Pick up a little steam now. These were the biggies I was talking about. All right, so that's maximum lift. Not bad. So originally when I first built the dump bed, I was thinking about putting a socket on here and storing a bar on the side that I could put a large rod in here or something and use that for leverage to dump it for manual dump. And I was still going to have to configure some type of latch mechanism to keep this thing from tipping with heavy loads or shaking around. And one really good thing about that linear actuator is with the gear ratio, when it's down, it's locked down. So it might jiggle around a tiny bit, but it's never going to tip when you're riding a heavy load around here like this. You know, it has a little bit of movement, but that's it. You're not going to lose. The whole thing's not going to tip over when you're going anywhere. So that got rid of the whole lock mechanism. I didn't have to do anything for this. So that was kind of a nice win on that one. One thing I'd like to point out is in part 1 and part 2 I had a lot of comments, people asking why didn't I put a bigger motor in it. Really the 7 horse moves it around fully loaded up any hill around my place at a speed that's a lot better than pushing a wheelbarrow, so it does everything I need it to. It's kind of matched to what the horsepower was in the original motor. If you put a much bigger motor you start burning out clutches and breaking belts and breaking other stuff, so it really works for what I needed to do, and I'm not racing around. If I wanted something for racing I would have bought a nice Japanese race quad. And a few other people mentioned I wasted my time, I should have just got a side-by-side. Realistically, I don't want payments for the next 4 or 5 years. I'd rather be simple about it. I've learned a lot of stuff along the way, and it's cost me maybe $500, and it's been really great around my property, and it's just been a fun project. So that's kind of the reasoning I built it. Alright, just brought a little load of wood chips from my wood chipper here. This is all maple from that tree I cut down, and we're going to mulch some of the little flower beds for the spring. Yeah, this thing beats the hell out of using a wheelbarrow. First gravel load with the quad truck. Didn't want to load up much more just to see I had a hill to climb up to get up here. Want to see how it did. So I got this loaded up, and it looks to me like the linear actuator will actually work. Slow, but it will dump it. So that's good to see. Well, we just got done hauling about a yard of gravel, maybe 3,400 pounds worth of stuff up here. I think it was maybe 6 trips or something. Got gravel through here, down the hillside. We are not going to be graveling this section over here just for rolling logs onto the mill. We definitely don't want to pick anything up in the bark and dull the blade. Right now, we got the log arch set up on here. The little cedar I milled for my buddy, so we're going to take that down the field so we can pick it up. The quad truck's coming in handy around here. Well, I've been thinking about this for a little while. It's been a kind of an idea. I want to make a little lumber rack, and I have to actually haul some lumber on it tomorrow, so it's going to be perfect timing. Tonight we're going to be mounting these parts here. I got some little tubing I'm going to mount here and on the back so I can haul boards right across here. Took some 1 1/4 inch and got the 1 inch nest inside of it by die grinding out the center seam out of here. Takes a little bit to get them to fit nicely, but that's fitting good. And the back one I welded up and through bolted it. I welded some bolts on here and here, and this will slide in and out. I'm going to put a little crossbar on it, some edges, and probably get out the metal bender and bend some little hooks so we can hook some tie down straps on there. Just through bolted it, and before I really load it down with a lot of heavy wood and beams and stuff, I'm going to put another aluminum patch on here just to kind of take the load off the side bed for side to side movement. I don't know if I pointed out these clamps to you guys in the past, but I got a little bit bigger version like this for my work. I weld a lot of tables and different things, and it makes T-joints like this and 90-degree joints just nice and square, easy to work with. This smaller version here I think I picked up for about 45 bucks on Amazon. And I got this helmet recently at a truck shop that was going out of business. They had a little sale. It's a Miller. Probably need to get a new face screen for it, but it's an auto dim. Got it for 35 bucks. It'll be nice. And then I have 2 helmets now, so I can start teaching my nephew how to weld. And picked up this compact bender recently. I've been learning how to use that. That's been pretty rad. And I have a new belt sander. It's not the highest end by any means, but it's sure nice to have. Anyways, I had another one, a 6-inch by, I don't know, 12-inch disc. I gave to my buddy Dave. You guys are always making comments that he's always giving me so much stuff, but anyways, it kind of comes around, goes around. I always make sure he's got tools, and if I have something extra, I give something to him. So yeah, anyways, this has been really nice. It's not the most powerful. The one I gave to him was more of a bigger Enco, a little more torque. It needs some work on the table, but it's a good sander as well. So I've been really happy with this. I've had it for about 6 months. It's the Vulcan Omni Pro 220 from Harbor Freight, and it lays on some pretty damn nice welds. I've been pretty happy with it here. Let's see if I get a close up. Yeah, some people might not like them because they're not millers, but I have to say it welds pretty dang good. Didn't have any 2x4s to load on here tonight, but you guys get the idea of it. Got it all wrapped up here. Tomorrow I need to haul some 12-foot 2x4s on it, so we're going to test it out and see how it does. But they just slip in and stay in with gravity. I think it'll be good. I also welded these uprights so they're open on the bottoms here, so in case you want to put a strap or a tie down around it, you can put a hook in here and come up around the bundle of wood. So I think that'd be a nice way to secure stuff. Well, using the lumber rack for the first time, got some 12-foot 2x4s on here. It seemed to work great. There's still plenty of room for riding this thing, so your handlebars don't interfere with it. So we've been talking about using this thing for a table saw and chop saw stand for a while. I just got some boards spanning across here, but it might make some little aluminum pieces to span it. We can bolt to the chop saw, but we got it set up on the bed of the quad truck, and it's tilted a little downhill here, so you can kind of level it out with the power lift here. There we go. This little toolbox has been an awesome little addition on here. It's got a little rubber seal on here so it always stays dry, and got a tape measure, some tie down straps, some tools. But the other day I was working on my mill and I needed to tighten one of the drive belts, and just popped this thing open, grabbed a few wrenches, and had everything I needed right there. So it's been a good upgrade. All of the 3 tires hold air just fine. This one goes flat every 4 or 5 days. I'm kind of getting tired of filling it up, and I don't really feel like spending over $100 on rear tires. They still have tread. They don't get the best traction, but We'll put a little sealant in there and see if it holds. Oh, thank you for helping, buddy.
Bah.
Yeah, thank you. So aired up the back tire again. We're going to run it around a little bit and see if it holds. I don't really like that slime stuff that much. I guess I have to say I haven't used it that much. I usually feel like on a motorcycle or something like that. If it's leaking, you might as well just fix it right, patch it, or just replace the tube completely. In this situation, I'll probably curse myself later when I go to switch out different tires, but if it seals it up and it works for a year or so, that's fine for me. So we'll see how it does. Well, it's time to wrap up part number 3. I was hoping to get a little more done, like powder coating and stuff like that in this video, but got what I could done. It was a long winter and didn't feel like working on it that much. But we did get the carburetor on here, built the manifold, got it jetted, and it was running nice. And it was nice to eliminate the governor. I can get the RPMs a little bit higher too. And yeah, it's been working really, really well. Built the lumber rack, which is nice just for moving boards and beams around here. And like I said, I got this, like putting a chop saw in the back of this thing and table saw so I can move it around for woodworking projects and working on outbuildings. Yeah, so it's coming along pretty good. I have to I have some parts built. I need to hook up the aluminum spool gun again and weld a little bit of a dash right up here for putting the toggle switches in for the headlights and bed. Might put some LED lights for the next video on here, some work lights that I can kind of point around, and if I'm working on something after dark I can illuminate the area. Still need to build a transmission guard for the side and powder coat the fenders. And oh yeah, I added the toolbox in this video too. That's been really nice. It's been handy to have a toolbox on here. And I might even put some mounts on here so I can put a small shovel, some dirt working tools on here, just to kind of have a useful UTV that I can take around my property and have the tools I need on it. But thanks for watching, guys, and stick around for part 4 at some point in the near future, hopefully. Take care.